Good morning. Today's show is going to discuss corporations and healthcare, health insurance policies. I've heard some things that I'm not real happy about how health insurance companies are thwarting the Affordable Care Act rules that were placed upon them and now turning your employer into your doctor, your daddy. They're turning your boss into your health guru. I'm going to explain how. First, we have to go back a little bit and talk about the Affordable Care Act. And whatever you think about it, it is the law. It is still the law. I told you all a story a long time ago, and maybe some of you haven't seen it because you're new here or you forgot. But when I was working for a corporation in 1993, this is 1993, all right? And I did a payroll deduction for my health care. And every year we had a meeting because the boss wanted to change health care plans. And one year the boss said, well, all of your payroll deductions are going to go up because last year we had one of our employees had a heart attack, and one of our employees, God bless her, suffered from breast cancer and is still getting treated for it. And we had 3 babies born. None of that was me, by the way. I hadn't used my health insurance that year. And my payroll deduction was going to go up. So even back then, I was a little of an activist. I raised my hand and said, no, wait a minute. So I'm going to pay more out of my paycheck every week when I'm already not making a real living wage to even afford my own apartment because they had some bad luck with their health this year. I got to pay for them. And it was explained to me that, yes, this is what a group does. We all take on the risk. We all contribute so that someday if I needed the health care, it would be there for me. That's the way it worked. Now, that was back then, 1993. And health insurance companies kept doing that. But at the end of the day, when you worked for a company, every employee of the company had the same payroll deduction, meaning that if I paid $50 a week out of my paycheck, then the person next to me paid $50 a week out of their paycheck. We all paid the same regardless of our health. If I was a smoker and my workmate wasn't, we paid the same. Okay? The only difference was if someone had a family. They paid a little more because they were insuring more people. But for single people, only me being covered, only my workmate being covered, we paid the same. Whether I went to the hospital 3 times that year and she never went, we paid the same. Then the Affordable Care Act came. And again, what the Affordable Care Act was supposed to do was to reel in these insurance companies, to stop them from doing what they had been doing for decades. What insurance companies were doing was trying to only accept healthy people who never went to the doctor, who were never going to use the health insurance. They wanted people like us, like me. I don't use my insurance. Never have. Never. That's who they wanted. They wanted people who had no risk to pay them a premium so that they would never have to pay out. Health insurance companies want to collect money and keep it. They don't want to pay it out. They don't want to pay your medical bills. It is the only industry in the world, the insurance industry, that actually collects your money and doesn't want to provide you with the service that you're paying them for. And we all know that that's true. And that's all insurance, by the way. It's life insurance, it's disability insurance, it's homeowners insurance, it's car insurance. They check you out. The Affordable Care Act said, guess what, health insurance company? You can't check people out anymore. You can't give them those 4-page things. Have you ever had this? Have you ever had that? In the last 10 years, have you had this? Are you suffering from this? How much do you weigh? They're not allowed to do that anymore. Except they are. I'm going to tell you how. If you work for a corporation and your corporation is getting ready to change insurance plans, the new insurance plan can go and talk to your current insurance plan. And they can get something. I had to write this down because I didn't believe it when I heard it, but it's true. It is called a healthcare cost data analysis. And this is on the CDC website, by the way, cdc.gov, I believe, is where I went. I'm going to put it up on my Facebook page so you all can read what they're allowed to do. And basically, this healthcare cost data used to identify groups of individuals or work sites with highest healthcare costs. So, employers can take steps, this is your boss, can take steps to improve health and well-being of the workforce. Oh, doesn't that sound nice that your boss gives a shit if you're healthy or not? We are targeting behaviors like physical activity and a healthy diet, so your boss can check what you're eating for lunch. Ooh, is that really good for you? Hey, have you been to the gym today? Have you done your sit-ups? Yeah, this is what this is about. It will help in employers developing policies in the workplace. Yeah, like you're not allowed to drink or smoke on your own time because you're going to end up costing the company money. You're a liability now with health insurance. Interpreting the healthcare claims data. That is what you Google. If you're an employer and you are looking for health insurance, and this is all legal, even though the Affordable Care Act, which I also looked up in my research, says this: when you are applying for a healthcare plan for you and your employees, this is the only 5 things they can ask you. The median age of your employees. How old are they? Where are you? Your location. For some reason, where you do business tends to determine your insurance premiums. I don't know why. They don't explain it because they really don't have to explain anything. They're the insurance company, for God's sake. Tobacco use, which we already have talked about on this show ad nauseum. That, yeah, unfortunately, even though technically they're not allowed to ask any health questions, they can ask about tobacco use. Okay? And individual versus family enrollment. How many people does your company have that is going to enroll, a family or individual? Okay? And then your plan category. What plan do you want for your employees? Those are the 5 questions they're allowed to ask. But guess what's happening all over the country right now? In a business like yours, probably. A business either that you own or that you work for. If you're an employer, you know what I'm talking about. And you don't like it. And your employees definitely aren't going to like it. But this page, this healthcare cost data, this is just a way to find out all the stuff they used to find out by having the employees and the individuals before they got insurance fill out those sheets. Have you had surgery in the last 5 years? When was the last time you went to the doctor? Have you ever had cancer? Have you ever had gallbladder surgery? They ask all these questions. Remember those questions? Well, you're not supposed to have to fill them out anymore. But the health insurance companies have a way to find out anyway, and it is by going through every claim that every employee of your company filled out last year. Every employee. So say employee 2 has a disabled child who ended up going to the emergency room and to different physical therapies for their disability. Your new insurance company is going to take that into consideration. Ooh. And your boss is going to come to you and say, you know what? Sorry about the disabled kid and all, but you're costing us money. Oh, really, boss? I'm costing you money? Have I ever not done my job? Am I doing a good job? But no, now I'm a liability. Say you've got fat people in your office. Look around your office right now. How many people are overweight, considered by a health insurance company obese? And believe me, their version of obese and real obesity is very different. They lower that bar big time. So, hey, you've got a couple employees there that, went to the doctor, and I see on their weight that they weigh, 250 pounds and they're only like 5'8". You got some obese people. They're a liability. Boss comes to you. You know what? You really need to lose some weight, dude. You're costing the company money in healthcare. Somebody filed a claim and they went to the doctor for diabetes. Oh, one of your employees has diabetes. That's going to be a problem. That employee is that's going to up your rates, your premiums. Then the boss comes and says, so you have diabetes. Any way you can get off the meds because they're going to cost the company money in healthcare premiums. Hey, one of your employees is being treated for breast cancer. Oh boy, that's going to really raise your premiums. Now you got to go to your female employee or a male employee, men get breast cancer, and say, any way you can stop getting treated for breast cancer, because that's going to raise our insurance rates. I know it's like rude to ask, but you're a liability. It's costing us money. Yeah, your chemotherapy and radiation, and yeah, is that going to be over soon? Because the new plan, they're raising our rates because of that. Do you see how all of this sounds right now? And if any of you out there had your boss come to you at your desk while you're doing your best possible work for them to make them money, to do your job, to earn your paycheck, if they had that conversation with you, what would be your response? I know what my response would be. I'd tell the boss to go fuck himself, first of all. And I'd be like, all of this is illegal. I might even get a lawyer. I don't know. Because my boss doesn't have the right to question my health. As long as I show up for work every morning, I stay all day, I do the job I'm being paid to do. And because when I was hired, I was offered the health insurance, I get the health insurance. And no, I don't get punished because God cursed me and I got breast cancer this year. Oh, I am so sorry, Mr. Big Man Boss, that my breast got a lump in it. I'm sorry that is inconvenient for you and your bottom line. I'm really sorry that my kid was born with a disability that needs treatment. But see, I work for you. I do a good job for you. And because I work for you, you provide me with health care for my disabled child. That's your job, Mr. Boss Man. But it's not necessarily the boss's fault either, because it's these health insurance companies, once again. Now think about this. I like to do comparisons. Think about a plumber, okay? You all have pipes in your house, and sometimes things go wrong with your pipes, right? I think this is actually a good analysis, a good comparison. So say you have a plumber, and he sold you this plan. Hey, you pay $200 a month, and then if something goes wrong with your pipes, now it's got to be something really major, because I'm not going to come out just because a pipe's leaking or your water's not running right or your hot water heater. I'm not doing that. But you pay me $200 a month, and then maybe when you need me, I'll come out and I'll fix your pipes for free. Really? Maybe? No, see, yes, you will. But imagine a plumber who doesn't want to fix your pipes. Unless your pipes are really, really seriously broken. Like, well, I'm not going to fix your pipes until you give me $7,000. until you need to spend $7,000 and then I'll fix your pipes. This is what health insurance does. You have to have $7,000 or whatever your deductible is. You have to have that in illness before we will pay one dime towards your medical bills. That's what they say. So imagine you're a mechanic. Well, yeah, you need a new battery, but I can't really put a new battery in until you spend $7,000. You give me $7,000, then I'll fix your car. I won't do my job unless you give me $7,000. Oh, and by the way, pay me $500 a month. Can you imagine any company doing that? And let's also talk about the other reason that the Affordable Care Act was a huge failure. And it was because healthy people, yes, like me, although I did pay in, I paid in until this last year when I just said I'm no longer being discriminated against because I smoke. Especially because of my history, which they should know because they check us out. They should know that I have not been to a doctor for an ill visit in 30 years. And my last ill visit was in 1990 when I had an ectopic pregnancy and was a non-smoker. So again, right away, you use tobacco, we're going to charge you more. I said, no, actually you're not. I'm just not going to pay you anymore. But let's remember, the whole purpose was that healthy people were supposed to get health insurance, whether they needed it or used it or not. And if all the healthy people in America had gotten just a small policy, just a little one, even if you wanted like a huge deductible, pay a couple $100 a month, everybody, even the sick people, could get coverage. What ended up happening was only the sick people got the health insurance. And then what happened is us few healthy people that, really care that we need something for a rainy day, we need health insurance, we ended up paying more so that the poor people and the sick people who didn't make as much money as we did paid less. And that wasn't fair either. It wasn't fair. If everybody had health insurance, even the healthy people, then the insurance companies wouldn't be going so crazy because right now they are only paying out. They're not getting in. And yes, the way all insurance works is you need people to pay in who don't use it. And you need that because someday when those people who are healthy right now need it, it'll be there for them. Okay? It is kind of like me going out and trying to get a homeowner's insurance policy after my house burns down. Wish me luck with that one. It's not going to happen. They'll laugh me out of the room. The day after I total my car, I try to get car insurance to pay for the damage. That's not going to happen. Now, how many of you would let your car insurance lapse? Well, first of all, that's illegal in most states. You have to have car insurance, whether you like it or not. And how many of you would live in a home that isn't insured if, God forbid, something happens to your home? A burglary, a hurricane, a fire. Would you let that lapse? Would you not have homeowners insurance? I mean, you'd be nuts not to. I mean, that is your greatest asset. Do you not want it replaced? If something happens, do you want to have to start all over again and pay? You don't. So why don't we feel the same way about health insurance? Because what is more important to us than if we become ill, being able to get well, being able to afford to get well by having the health insurance companies backing us up a little bit here, paying for some stuff. So again, there's a lot of blame to go around on this one. But I do say this. Health insurance companies are playing fast and loose with the law. And if you do own a company and you have found that places, I know for a fact that Aetna is one health insurance company that does this cost claim analysis where they look at the claims your employees put in before they will take your company on. And then they also, some employers are now forcing certain employees who use their insurance too much to pay more out of their payroll deductions. And that's not the way payroll deduction insurance is supposed to work. When you have a job and you do a good job, you're supposed to be treated equally as all of your fellow employees. You're supposed to pay the same amount for the same policy. But sadly, in today's age, where insurance companies are trying so hard to continue their past bad behavior of taking your money without ever paying any of it out for your medical bills, which is their job, now your job is in jeopardy. Your job's in jeopardy, really, because how much is an employer going to pay extra to keep you on if he can hire someone who's healthier than you to take your position? I don't know that he could do that legally, but I'm sure he could find a way. So it's something to think about. It's something we need to fight. And if Donald Trump is honest and really wants to reform healthcare, this is something he really has to work on, because it was part of the Affordable Care Act that didn't work and is being abused by insurance companies and in some cases by employers who have now become our doctors and our bosses, not only at the office, but during our personal life and our personal time as well. Political Paula's out.